What's up, y'all? Welcome back to ESPN NFL 2K5. We got Tampa Bay back in the saddle. We took a tough loss to the New Orleans Saints last week. We moved to 7-2 overall, but we're looking to bounce back here against the Cincinnati Bengals. Say that 5 times fast. Bounce back against the Cincinnati Bengals. Anyway, we got to look at what happened last week before we move on to this week. In Week 10, Seattle, Miami, San Diego, Denver, the New York Football Jets, and the Jacksonville Jaguars all getting victories. And look at the Buffalo Bills, 0-9. You'd think that they'd be the beneficiaries of Tom Brady moving out of their conference, but they have not been. Green Bay goes 6-3. Philadelphia gets their 8th win of the season. They seem to be the front runners in the NFC. Minnesota 5-4. Chicago 6-3. Washington and the Arizona Cardinals all getting wins in week number 10. And lastly, our upcoming opponent, the Cincinnati Bengals, beat the Baltimore Ravens, although kind of everyone's beating them this season. And then the New Orleans Saints beating us, as we discussed in week 10. Drew Bledsoe, now a Jacksonville Jaguar. City's so nice, they named it Jacksonville. Chad Pennington, shout out to the NMCU, Ronnie Harrison and Chris Jenkins getting player of the week nods. So even though Carson Palmer is still on this Bengals roster, we've got John Kitna under center. And look at these numbers. Specifically, the touchdown to interception numbers are ridiculous. 20 touchdowns to 2 interceptions. Moving on quickly to Rudy Johnson, who's got 446 yards and 2 touchdowns so far on the year. Chad Johnson, a.k.a. Ocho Cinco, in his 5th year in the league, has 669 yards and 6 touchdowns under his name. And if you didn't notice, we have a different left tackle. It used to be Willie Anderson, but the Bengals traded straight up with the New England Patriots, Matt Light, for Willie Anderson. So he's now the best player on that line. On the other side of the ball, though, not so great. Not a very good defense here in Cincinnati. Their best player is Justin Smith with just a sack and a half so far this year and 38 tackles. And then Kim Herring at free safety is also at an 82 overall. The 9th-year veteran out of Penn State has 52 tackles so far 9 games into the season. Part of this is because they are beset with injuries. Their rookie Gene Reyes is on the bench for 2 more weeks, and 2 inside linebackers are injured for 1 more week. Broken wrist, broken foot, respectively. So we'll toss it to Chris Berman in the studio, and then we'll head to Cincinnati for a little bounce back opportunity for Tampa Bay.
Hey, I'm Chris Berman. Coming up on ESPN. Week 11 of the NFL on ESPN is coming your way, and we can just about see the playoffs coming over the horizon. We should have a pretty good one here, because we've got a couple of teams in action that are in dire need of a W. Buccaneers, Bengals, now.
We got a torrential downpour here in what is usually beautiful and scenic Cincinnati, Ohio, but we are going to have football at Paul Brown Stadium regardless of the weather. Of course, in this game, if it's lightning like crazy outside, they still play the game. So as Rudy Johnson right out of the gates putting his shoulder into guys, that's a nice 5-yard gain. We move to a 3rd and 4. Kitna looking over the middle. That's complete to Chad Ocho Cinco. Johnson moved the chains. Rudy Johnson running again, not quite being able to get out of the tackle of Derek Brooks as we get an early peanut moment. Like the video and subscribe if you're new. We're moving again to a 3rd down. It's a counter to Rudy going to the right side, gets past a couple of defenders there, barely gets dragged down by Dwight Smith. That is once again going to move the chains for the Cincinnati Bengals. On 1st down, running to the outside, that's Dwight Smith getting the first hit, but it takes a couple more Buccaneers. That's a nice 7-yard gain. 2 plays later, 3rd and 3, again thrown to the right side. That's Chad with the step. Bad defense by Brian Kelly, and Chad Johnson is going to waltz into the end zone. Do your dance, Chad. That's an early 7-0 lead here for the Cincinnati Bengals. We are in a soft zone coverage. Brian Kelly just guessed wrong on that one, batted a bunch of air, and Chad Johnson got nothing but turf on his way to the end zone. So it's going to be a quick 7-0 lead for the Cincinnati Bengals as you see a 73-yard drive over 9 plays, and Tom Brady takes over trying to answer. Gets the ball off before the blitz can get to him, and that's Larry Fitzgerald almost immediately doing more in one play than he did the entirety of the New Orleans Saints games. Gardner with his first carry, going to get over 9 yards to the right side. Nice little use of his blocks and the hesitation there as Mike Allstott gets the last couple of yards. Shout out to Ryan Neese. He used to be on this team team. He was a backup linebacker. He's now on the Cincinnati Bengals as a starter, as Fitzgerald's one-on-one coverage, and Larry Fitzgerald is just going to be dangerous all day. As we can see, Tom Brady not too far behind John Kitna in terms of that touchdown to interception ratio. Now, this was supposed to set up as a screen. We got a nice move from Charlie Gardner to save that from being a loss. So now we've got 3rd and 3. Brady under some pressure, shakes, bakes, finds some field, and he's going to take the hit inside of the 10-yard line. That is maybe the best scramble that Tom Brady has had all season to move the chains into 1st and goal territory. Charlie Gardner on 1st down. He's only going to get a couple yards there. That moves up to a 2nd and goal at the 5-yard line. Brady dropping back, looking past this time. Slight rollout to the left, and he's got Larry Fitzgerald all alone over the middle. The weak Cincinnati defense shows up pretty much immediately, and we are able to march right back down the field and get a score ourselves to tie this one up 7-7. We needed to wait till the kick went through in order to count that 7-7. So 9 plays of our own, 80 yards of our own, and the Cincinnati Bengals take back over. Rudy gets out to the left side. Dwight Smith can't take him down. Simeon Rice can't take him down. Frazier misses the tackle, and Rudy Johnson is loose. 20, 15, 10, 5, 1 play, 70 yards later, and Rudy Johnson is in the end zone. Rest in peace, big fella. That was an immaculate run by Rudy Johnson getting out to the left side. That was a middle run. There was a draw up the middle. Rudy immediately cuts to his left side, and not one Buccaneer is able to touch him. And just like that, we've got a 14-7 lead for the Cincinnati Bengals. What an exciting first quarter we've had so far. We got about 40 seconds left in this first quarter. We've already had 3 scores. Let's see if Tom Brady can do anything before the quarter actually ends. Over the middle, nice catch by Michael Clayton, who gets himself involved in the offense. Not to be outdone, we rush to the line, get one more play off. A lob to the left side. It's Larry Fitzgerald, who has been absolutely eaten in this first quarter. So we got a little bit of that momentum back as we head into quarter number 2. We are down by 1 touchdown, but certainly not out. Brady throwing on the move to Michael Clayton over the middle. That was an incredible throw and catch from Brady to Clayton. Brady once again dropping back, slight rollout. He's got Fitzgerald wide open again, and that's 2 touchdowns for Big Larry. Got shut out last game against the Saints, did not have a good game. Apparently, we needed him to not be playing in a dome and have a little bit of rain on his head in order to come and show up like the receiver that we know that he is. The line has been doing a great job of protecting Brady so far in this game, and that's 2 touchdown passes for Brady, both of them going to Larry the Legend Fitzgerald, and just like that, we got a tie ball game again. Great job by Rudy Johnson so far in this game. 8 carries for 102 yards already. Having a 70-yard rush will certainly help you in that department. Chad Johnson all alone, just dissecting that cover 2 zone. We're going to have to maybe think about something a little bit different in our defensive game plan unless we want to keep giving up those big runs. Rudy Johnson just shakes Shelton Quarles out of his boots, sends him into another dimension. It's going to be another 10-yard run for Rudy Johnson. Kitna throwing this time. That's a nice catch by Washington. So the other players in the Cincinnati Bengals are starting to get involved. Kerry Washington with a huge reception down the field. We haven't even really seen Peter Warwick yet, as we get a nice sack there, as I believe that's Derek Brooks getting through the middle, getting a nice sack. A little scramble, a little throw, completion to Rudy Johnson. You know, when I was editing that, it maybe looked like he was over the line, but no harm, no foul, I suppose. Quick throw on the rollout to the left side. He was under some pressure from Simeon Rice there. I think maybe if I wasn't using him, he may have actually gotten that sack. So we walk away with minimal damage done. That's going to be a field goal up and good for the Bengals, a 65-yard drive over 10 plays. That brings us to a 14-17 deficit. Allstott with a shoulder charge, which kind of works out for him. He rides the momentum of his big self over the first down line. That's going to be a nice run for Mike Allstott. Brady, beautiful step up into the pocket. Great patience to find Michael Clayton over the middle on the cross route. Brady, under a little bit of pressure, bails out to Mike Allstott, who uses a little bit of that speed to make up 7 yards. We've got a 3rd and short here. Brady looking for the pass, lobbing it over the middle of... That was a ballsy pass, I'm not going to lie. Sorry for the language, I suppose, if that's language. But Larry Fitzgerald is back with a vengeance. 6 receptions, 103 yards, and 2 touchdowns for Big Larry so far in this game. And we're barely into the second quarter. Allstott just lays Theo Ratliff out with his shoulder. That's going to be a nice run. Play action this time from Tom. Roland gets sacked. Justin Smith gets past the right tackle. Going to get a second and a half sack of the year. And that's going to lead to a field goal ourselves. So Martin Gramatica steps up, boots that one through. Another very kind of like punch for punch drives here as we get a return from Kim Herring out of the end zone, and it's loose. Ted Warner is immediately on that thing, and we've got ourselves a nice little opportunity to score as Mike Allstott from a 1st and goal gets a couple of yards. Not so bad. We take a timeout, try not to run out of time here in the half. Brady looking past this time, has a little bit of time to throw, decides to scramble it, not really sure why, gets taken down pretty much right there. It's going to be the final timeout of the half, so this one's pretty much got to go in, or we've got to go to the next one, the field goal. Brady is not able to connect with Rick Barrett, who is going over the middle, and that's going to allow us to score another 3 points. So it was only a 15-yard drive, but it was a fumble on the kick return that allowed us to take the lead before halftime. So as we go into the halftime stanza, we are enjoying a 20-17 lead here in Cincinnati. You can see here we're doing well passing the ball. We're doing okay rushing the ball. It's obviously not great that we've already given up 121 yards on the ground, but most of that was that 70-yard rush by Rudy Johnson. So if we can keep the big plays in check for the rest of the game, we may be on our way to something good here. We will certainly be on our way to something good here if Larry Fitzgerald keeps playing like he is today. 6 receptions, 103 yards, and 2 tutties for our guy. Brady coming out pass here in the second half, thrown to the right side. That's going to be Rick Barrett who makes a nice catch, a little stiff arm to take it out of bounds. It's a 30-yard gain for the rookie tight end, who has been an absolute revelation in the passing game for us. Allstott working out of a tackle there. He's got a little bit of space, throws a nasty stiff arm himself, and that's going to get him past the first down line and then some. So what looks like a run that was a little bit in trouble turns into like a 15-yard gain. Great job by Mike Allstott. Brady under some pressure, throws to Gardner on the right side on the move. Nice juke move to make a couple of Bengals miss. That's a nice tackle by Manuel, making up for the fact that he got absolutely shook into next Tuesday by Charlie Gardner. Brady looking over the middle for Joe Juravicius, who's going to get tackled into the end zone, and a beautiful throw by Tom Brady on the move gets Joe Juravicius his first touchdown in a Tampa Bay uniform. Not a Tampa Bay uniform, a Tampa Bay uniform, because once you're on Tampa Bay, you're obviously wearing a different uniform. The kick is up and good, and we may have just created a wee little bit of separation as we go up by 10 points, 27-17. Good little return here, making up for the fumbled ball, getting out to the 22. We're going to hand this one off to Rudy Johnson, who gets... Look at him sneak out of that trouble. Looked like he was going to get tackled in the backfield. Turns it into a 4-yard gain. Rudy is up to 125 yards and then some, and counting, as Zach Frazier gets up there to make the tackle. I will say this, Zach Frazier, as he kind of misplays that route a little bit, but Rudy Johnson gets over the line. I guess I'm giving myself kudos for the fact that he hasn't really totally misplayed something that's led to a huge drive, although that wasn't great pursuit on the ball either, as Rudy Johnson gets over the line. 2nd and 7. That's a beautiful pass by Peter Warwick. Remember when we said Peter Warwick hasn't done anything today? 6 points for him. Just like that, Peter Warwick makes his presence known, and he is down the field in the end zone. 1 pitch, 1 catch, 1 misplay by Dwight Smith. Just a really bad play on the ball by our strong safety there. Our free safety? I always get confused on the side. He's the free safety. The free safety, bad play. And that's a 78-yard drive capped off on a big play by Peter Warwick, who had been relatively quiet up until that point. Clayton gonna fumble that one on the catch, and guess what? We can't challenge it. Because if we challenge that one and say that it wasn't a fumble, well, guess what? It would have been counted as an interception. So we got to just eat the fumble. You can see quick hit there right into the guy's hands. So if we had challenged it and got the challenge correct, it would have just counted as an interception for Tom Brady. So I decided to take the fumble rather than the interception. I'm just picking my stats, I suppose, as John Kitna makes us look silly sliding for 9 yards. That's an easy pickings for Rudy Johnson, but he's not able to make the first down conversion. One of the first times we are able to really stop Rudy Johnson at the line, but it's not going to happen twice. Lightning does indeed not strike twice in the same place. Rudy loose again. He's going to get another 7 yards out of that one. Smith actually making a coherent play on the ball. That's going to be Ian Gold making the tackle there for just a yard. It's a 3rd and 1, a big 3rd and 1 as Rudy is out the outside and Smith tackles him pretty much on the goal line. So we got another scoring opportunity for the Bengals unless they want to throw it away like that. That's a deflected pass, no good. Kitna dropping back to pass again, and that's going to be a sack. I believe that was Anthony McFarland getting through for one of his 2nd or 3rd sacks of the year, and that one is going to be thrown a little too hot for Kerry Washington to handle. He had a play on the ball. Rondé Barber wasn't really looking for it there either, but it's going to lead to another field goal and another tie ball game as we head into the 4th quarter. So we definitely got a close one hanging into the 4th. I mean, it's a tie game. Of course, it's a close one, but it is 27-27. Buccaneers looking to take home the away win against a surprisingly tough Buccaneers Bengals team. We get another nice 8-yard gain there to Larry Fitzgerald, who has been quiet here in this second half. He's 7 for 110, so that's his first catch since the first half. Allstott, we needed him to get the first down, and he does his job with a palm. That's when you do it well, right? Anyway, Brady, long over the middle. Rick Barrett with a beautiful catch. Another 30-yard gain for Rick Barrett. 2 catches, 2 30-yard gains, 60 huge yards from the rookie tight end. Gardner getting a toss on the outside after the fake handoff to Mike Allstott, a couple of jukes, and he gets over the first down line. We get a delayed handoff on the counter to Gardner, who almost makes the guy miss with the juke. Honestly, I think if he had just hit the afterburners to the outside, he probably would have had a touchdown. Allstott's shoulder gets us a first down, and that's going to be at the 11-yard line, so it's not even a 1st and goal. We're certainly looking to make the run happen right now, as Charlie Gardner gets taken down by his face mask. So that's going to give us half the distance to the goal. You know it happens when we get half the distance to the goal. We call up Mike Allstott, and we get that big-shouldered man. I almost used a different word that started with M, to go ahead and rumble on into that end zone. So Mike Allstott puts his big self into the end zone. He's got a lot of those this season. He had a lot of those last season. He does a lot of that in general for Tampa Bay, and a beautiful 78-yard drive. Just Tom Brady and co. showing off their offensive prowess here against the Cincinnati defense that is unfortunately truly lacking. We've got a 3rd and 7 now. Big moment for Jeff Garcia and the Cincinnati Bengals. He decides to bomb one deep, and that's Chad Johnson coming down with it. If you're going to throw up a prayer to somebody, it might as well be Chad Johnson. Remember when I said that Zach Frazier didn't miss an assignment that led to a big score or a touchdown? I guess I forgot about this play. And Peter Warwick, with 2 catches, also has 2 touchdowns, and both of them come on big runs after the catch. You can see Zach Frazier here. I mean, again, bad positioning by Brian Kelly, kind of putting him into that situation in the first place, but I guessed inside. Peter Warwick went outside, and nobody was going to be able to catch him. And just literally the one thing that we had to do was not give up a big play to tie the game up, and we quite literally give up a big play to tie the game up. Just a minute goes off the clock. We've got 2 minutes left. We got a big 3rd down here for Tom and co. A quick slant over the middle. You gotta throw it to Larry Fitzgerald in a situation like that, and Larry Fitzgerald comes through with a huge catch in the wind, in the rain. Not going to matter. We're going to take it anyway. Michael Clayton making a great catch, and that's Tom Brady with over 300 yards on his day, 309 yards passing, and no interceptions. Tampa Bay is dealing today. Speaking of dealing, we got Michael Clayton with space and the ability to run. I'm frankly shocked that he didn't make it into the end zone, but Michael Clayton has been perfect today. 7 targets, 7 catches, and a 131 yards for our guy. So our top 2 receivers have been absolutely elite, as they have been for honestly most of the season this year. Mike Allstott getting a nice 6-yard gain, forcing the second timeout for the Cincinnati Bengals. We get a 3rd and inches here, and they take their final timeout, and I have a little bit of decision time, and I decide to just run it into the end zone with Charlie Gardner. You could have possibly made an argument that I should have kneeled the ball and then taken the field goal, but the way that we had been giving up big plays, I wanted the insurance of the touchdown as a deficit as we go to a 2nd and 10 now after the first incomplete pass. That one's going to be caught by Chad Johnson. Had Shelton Quarles, who's had kind of a quiet game, going in the wrong direction as he gets over 100 yards on the game, trying to get his Cincinnati Bengals back in a winning position. As Kitna throws over to the right side, that one's going to fall incomplete, and a pivotal 4th down and inches. Quick drop back under pressure, and just cojones, a steal on that one. John Kitna hitting Peter Warrick to give him 108 yards on just 3 catches. They spike the ball to stop the clock. 2nd and 10 now, looking to get into the end zone to try and tie this ball game, keeping things going. And in Gold comes lurking. Ian Gold, who had been relatively quiet along with the rest of his linebacker unit, really no sacks to be heard from this Tampa Bay Buccaneers defense, is lurking back there in the zone and grabs his 4th interception of the season, and this one is where he called game. So this was our 2nd big shootout of the season, and this time we come away with the victory. Tampa Bay and company get the win in Cincinnati in the rain by a score of 41-34. I immediately forgot. 41-34. Good job, Steve. That's how you want to really convince them to stay. Only 1 turnover for us. 18 minutes, neither in 19 minutes of possession. 349 passing yards, which leads us to our very obvious player of the game. 21 for 25. Those of you who are on the Steelers stream on Saturday, I want you to see that because that's with the same settings, okay? 349 yards, 3 touchdowns, and no interceptions for Tom Brady. Rudy Johnson was brilliant, 7.7 yards per carry for 169. Nice. A touchdown and also a pair of touchdowns for Mike Allstott and Charlie Gardner. 131 yards for Michael Clayton, 121 yards for Larry Fitzgerald, and 60 big yards for Rick Barrett. 2 touchdowns for Larry Fitzgerald and none for Michael Clayton. Dwight Smith was busy as a safety. That's never a good sign when your safety is leading the team in tackles by a long shot. Ian Gold with 4 assists to his 3 tackles, plus a sack, plus an interception, so I guess he was a little busy. 3 tackles, a sack, and interception is like a pretty good day. Rondé Barber leading the team with 2 passes defended, and of course Ian Gold with the game-stealing interception. And of course, got to shout out the forced fumbles on the day from both Kim Herring and from Michael Cooper on the special teams. So we get the win and we go marching on to New York. So we stay on the road to face off against Eli Manning and the New York Giants. And that's going to do it for this episode, everybody. Thanks so much for tuning in. As always, if you've made it this far, you're the best. If you've made it this far and you haven't also liked the video, if you feel like it, I would be honored. If you've made it this far and you're new, subscribe up to the channel. We're streaming these games. We're incorporating the games from the NNCU very, very soon. And for Peanuts 24/7, we'll look forward to seeing you on the next one. Bye-bye.